My name is Justin with Built on Faith Homestead. We're leaving Egypt, depending on which video platform you watch your content on. And this is surviving pregnancy from the dad's perspective. All right, here's what happens. As a God-fearing man, you finally find that woman in your life that likes to hunt and fish, and most of all, go to church with you and serve the Lord with you. And she's God-fearing as well, and she's a good woman, and you marry her, and you're out one day working around in your yard, just doing the stuff you need to do. And she says, "Hun, you need to come inside and look at what's in the bathroom counter." And this is what you find. All right, Dad, here's the deal. Don't panic. She's already panicking. There's all kinds of joy that has come up, but there's also all kinds of fear of, I can't do this, and I'm not going to be able to do this. And this is where you need to step in, Dad. Put your arm around her and say, we can do this together. Because this is about surviving pregnancy. This is before the child ever comes. This is before the child's ever born. You have to survive pregnancy. So now that we know that we are going to have a baby, what do we need to do to survive? We need to do our zone of assessments. Zone number one, what are we carrying on us, right? So let me show you some things you need to have on hand. And no, it's not a multi-tool or a pocket knife or anything of the sort, although those are good to have. Let's talk about some things you need to have for surviving pregnancy. First thing you need to have on hand is a good version of the Bible. The Bible tells us that children are a blessing from God. The world will tell you that they're just going to hinder your life and they're not going to be any good, but the Bible tells us they're a blessing from God. However, we know from the fall of man that this time of pregnancy, it's hard, and it's going to be hard, okay? So we can do some things to survive it. The second thing you need to make sure that you have some soda pop and some chocolate. That soda pop and that chocolate will get you through the hardest of times. That soda pop and that chocolate will get you through those midnight cravings. That soda pop and that chocolate will get you through those emotional breakdowns in the middle of the day. It is good to always have a stash somewhere hid that when your wife is really craving that, you can come to her and say, here you go, hun. All right, what's the next thing you need to make sure you have on you? Your car keys and a little bit of cash. You say, what's that for? Well, that is for zone of assessment number 2. What's in your immediate area? So if you're like us and you live in the sticks, the only thing you got close to you is probably a gas station and a Dollar General, and you need to know what those places have. You need to know the type of candy they have, the type of ice cream that they have. You need to know whether or not they carry the medicine that's okay for your wife to take. And you also need to make sure that you understand if they serve burgers or fries or pizza, any of that kind of stuff. Do they have fountain drinks? Do they have slushies? Do they have soft serve ice cream, or just that hard ice cream that's in the freezer? Do they have the right kind of beef jerky maybe, or do they have the right kind of M&Ms with the peanuts in it, or maybe the M&Ms with the peanut butter in it? You need to understand what you have next to you if you're going to survive, especially this first trimester that we're going to focus on today. That brings us to zone of assessment number 3. If you're like us, you're about 20 or 30 minutes away from anywhere, right? So what is around you in that 20 or 30 minute drive? What Mexican restaurants are around you? What Chinese restaurants are around you? What kind of other restaurants might be around you that your wife could be craving in that time? What time do they serve their particular types of food? Can you get French fries in the morning if you had to have it? Could you go get a breakfast sandwich in the morning or in the afternoon if you had to have it? Can you go get the right kind of salsa with the right kind of chips? These are all going to be very important to you, and I will explain further in this video. So I know what you're thinking right about now. You done talked about all the junk food. What about the good health food that they should be eating as a pregnant woman? And we as husbands ought to be trying to help our wife make these good healthy choices to feed herself and that baby. You know what? There's a lot of truth to that. We do probably need to try to help feed those good, nutritious, healthy foods. But I'm going to tell you this, if you desire to live to see that offspring, let your wife eat some chocolate every now and again. Make sure you know where the chips and salsa is. Make sure you know what kind of Cheetos it is that's really hitting the spot for her in that moment of craving, in that moment of time. Know which chocolate bar to get if you desire to live to see that offspring. So when you first got married, you just went out to dinner at whatever restaurant and you chose one. You're like, do you want a burger or fries, or do you want chips and salsa, right? Or do you want a steak, or do you want Chinese food? That's how you made decisions. But now you guys are pregnant, and that all changes. All of that has went out the window, because sometimes your wife is going to want a cheeseburger from one restaurant, French fries from another, chips and salsa from another, maybe some sushi that is not raw sushi, that is cooked sushi, right? And she wants Dr. Pepper fountain drink from the other place. You need to know these Remember, this is where your zone of assessments has helped you. Where can you go and get all of these places? Because no longer is it about, do you want Chinese food or do you want Mexican? It's about, what can we feed you that you will be happy with today, or even more so in the first trimester. What can you eat that you're not going to immediately throw right back up? Our first baby, this is how we decided what we were going to eat. I would start listing restaurants. The first one that didn't make her gag, that's where we went. Remember, this is about survival, husbands. You can find something you want to eat at any of them. It'll be fine. Go where she's not going to throw it back up right away anyway. That first trimester, it is full of morning sickness. It is full of emotions. It is full of cravings. It is full of all of these things, and you need to get your mind right about these things. There will come a time when you come in the house and she's gonna make no sense to you. And you say, what do you mean, Survivor Dad? Here's what I mean. Say you come into the house one evening after working and she says, hun, what's your favorite color? And you say, you know what, my favorite color's been green. I've always liked green. She may break out in tears because her favorite color is blue, and all of a sudden you guys don't have the same favorite color, and she doesn't know whether or not we can get through this pregnancy without you guys having the same favorite color. Now's not the time for your pride to swell up and say, you know what, we must have the same favorite color, but rather now is the time to just wrap your arm around her, let her cry, maybe even shed a tear with her. You don't need to be a macho man. This is about surviving. I must warn you quickly now about something else that's going to happen. At some point in time, your parents and her parents are going to turn into people that are unrecognizable. They're going to dress the same, they're going to talk the same, but they're no longer going to act the same. They are going to forget how they used to chastise you. They're going to forget about things like, you better quit crying or I'll give you something to cry about. They're going to forget what happened whenever you spilled your soda pop in the living room. Those things are going to disappear. They're going to get a sudden case of amnesia. They're going to be like Dr. Fauci standing before Congress going, I don't even know what that means. We did not do gain of function. I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't fit the current definition. In fact, sir, you are an idiot and that never happened. Sorry, grandmas and grandpas, but you know it's true. Come on now. Parents, be ready. And by the way, grandmas and grandpas, if you don't think it's true, remember what it was like whenever your parents became grandmas and grandpas. We all fall in the trap. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll happen to me too. There will also come days whenever your wife is miserable, she's very pregnant, she's very emotional, and it's going to all be your fault, husband. And there's nothing you can do to make her happy. She's going to be upset, she's going to be mad, she's going to be crying, and it's all going to be your fault. And in the same 10 minutes later, she wants you to stick her in your front pocket and carry her around everywhere you go because she loves you so much that she can't stand to be apart from you. Be prepared to ride those waves. It's okay. She doesn't hate your guts. She loves you. She just has hormones running through her like crazy. And maybe it's her first time with these hormones, or maybe those hormones, it's not her first time. Maybe she's been pregnant before, but you know this and you just need to ride those hormones out. It's going to be okay. The second trimester's coming. It usually gets a little bit easier. It'll be fine. Also now, understand this, you're going to go to the doctor after you get the pregnancy test. You're going to call the doctor, they're going to make an appointment, and you're going to go to the doctor. And you're going to discuss at the doctor what all is going to happen during this time of pregnancy. Don't let all of this scare you, right? I know it's tough, I know it's scary. People have been doing this for like thousands of years, getting through pregnancy. We'll get through this. It's okay. You and your wife both, you guys will get through this. It's going to be okay. But I do want to warn you, husbands and even wives that's never been pregnant before, you will go to an ultrasound at some point in time, and that thing's going to look like an alien from a sci-fi movie. It's going to be really weird looking, but it's okay. They all look like that. At least all of ours have at some point in time. It'll be fine. They don't come out looking that way. I promise you. All right, all joking aside, pregnancy's tough. Pregnancy's really, really tough on your wife. There's going to be a whole flood of emotions she's going to have to deal with, and Satan's going to be on her shoulder, speaking all kinds of lies to her, and the world is pumping all kinds of lies into her, telling her how awful it is that she's having a child or having multiple child and how her whole life's over and all of these things, and that's just not the case, okay? And husbands, we need to be there for our wives in those times. And husbands, I want you to understand, I know it's hard for you too. There's going to be times where it's hard for you too, and I understand that, and you can get through it and you'll be okay. I promise you. Remember that the Bible said that these are blessings from the Lord. These children are blessings from the Lord. But times of pregnancy, the Bible also said, was going to be very, very hard since the fall of man. Those things are going to happen. It's okay. You guys aren't going to get along sometimes. Sometimes you guys are going to argue. Sometimes you guys are going to fight about the dumbest of things, because there's all of this emotion. When we had our first kid, I was remodeling our house, and I didn't even have all the floor in the house, right? And we didn't even know we were having a baby. My wife has got some hormone issues. We went to the doctor for something completely different, found out she was pregnant, and we were driving home. I had already bought all the flooring, and we were driving home, and Melissa goes, what are we gonna do now? And I said, I guess I'm gonna finish putting the flooring in. You're gonna have this thing click inside of you that's like, oh man, I'm responsible for more than just me and my wife now. Now we're gonna be responsible for a kid, and we need to have all this, and we need to do all this, and we got it. No, a lot of that stuff doesn't have to be done. Remember, once again, we've been having children for thousands of years, and most of the time, the stuff we put so much pressure on ourselves for, just it's kind of nonsense, and we need to not do that to each other, and we need to not do that to those that are having babies, right? As long as you got a roof over their head, you got food for their belly, maybe some diapers to put on them, cloth diapers that you can wash up, or disposables, or whatever you got to do, whatever you need to do, whatever's best for your situation. Roof over their head, food in their belly, and the love from their mom and dad is all them babies really need. The rest of us just kind of extra after that. We appreciate you guys watching. I hope you got a few laughs out of this video. I will approve this video by my pregnant wife before I ever put it back out on YouTube. I will make sure to get her approval, because I don't mean to offend, but I also do want to have some fun and joke around a little bit about the realities of pregnancy, so that husbands will be there for their wives, be prepared for that time, and so everybody can have a laugh. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next time.